Hi everyone, this is Laura Campen, and this is my final oral exam in Multicultural Gifted Education. This is going to be my 4th year teaching, and I'm going to be a new 4th grade teacher. So the first course objective that I felt like I met is evaluating my personal beliefs and professional experience related to multicultural gifted education issues. Before beginning this course, I didn't really reflect on how my personal beliefs and professional experiences impacted each other. While doing the activity, My Peeps, it helped me to reflect on myself and my own identity and learn about my background. Knowing more about my family helped me to influence how it was affecting my story and how I saw multiculturalism. I thought, who do I hang out with? Who do I engage in conversations with? The people of my own race. And being white, it's comfortable to stay in isolation, or as Gary Howard explained in The White Man Dancing, A Story of Personal Transformation, I had the luxury of ignorance. It was easy to stay in my little bubble and not have to deal with multiculturalism. It made me nervous to speak up about multicultural education, and being silent was easier. I felt like, what if I get judged, or what if I accidentally offend someone? However, that kind of discomfort helps me know that I'm growing, transforming, and challenging other people's perspectives. One of my favorite things to do is travel and explore. I've been very lucky and blessed to be able to have many opportunities that others from multicultural backgrounds might not be able to have. However, when I travel this time, I have new eyes of being able to realize that I'm going to look at it a little bit different. I'm not just going to travel, but I'm going to explore different cultures and be able to add that culture into my classroom and grow professionally. It wasn't actually until college that I made friends with people who are not white and kind of broke out of my little bubble. But like many of my students, I am still in the middle or upper to middle class, and it's easy to isolate myself. However, when I did my position paper, I was able to address the issue of social class and think, how can I use strategies to break out of that isolation, not only for myself, but also for my students, families, administration, and staff? And how can we be more accepting of people who are in other social classes than us? This time, I have a new perspective and I think about things differently. Whether I'm looking at social media, whether I'm looking at news articles, or just the world around me, I see it through multiculturalism, and I see it with a new pair of eyes. Not thinking about my white self, but thinking, how can I include my culture and other people's cultures into my teaching? The second course objective that I feel like I've met is analyzing the influence of culturally unresponsive or responsive environments on the psychological, social, and emotional development of culturally diverse students in gifted programs. I thought, what kind of environment am I providing and supporting my students with? I like to play music often in my classroom, and when I'm in writing, I'll typically play classical music, and if I'm trying to let the kids have a little bit of fun, I might play popular pop songs. However, am I playing songs that are good for multicultural students and not just my white students? Not necessarily. However, I will say that as I play songs in math to learn about addition or subtraction or arrays, or if I'm playing music about grammar, reading, writing, whatever it might be, I do try to play a variety of different songs. As a second grade teacher, I was teaching all subjects, so it naturally lends itself to talking about cultures. And part of our curriculum is talking about Martin Luther King, Jackie Robinson, Rosa Parks, but a lot of the activities I was doing was more on the contributions or additive level, as Donna Ford and Michelle Fraser Trotman Scott talked about in their matrix. However, it was rarely transformation or social action activities is what I should be doing, but it wasn't really doing. In my literature, I tried to read a variety of different books about different cultures, but what about what Fraser Trotman Scott said when she talked about in her presentation that culturally diverse students are culturally diverse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Was I doing this daily? Not necessarily, and I need to think about how I can provide an environment that is going to support all students. Through analyzing the Boykin Afrocentric styles and the previously we had studied the Torrance creative positives, this helped me to consider how I can think about these different aspects and incorporating into my teaching, and how I can be responsive. Am I incorporating spirituality, harmony, movement, oral tradition, being expressive and social, communalism? Those are the types of things that I can use in my teaching to help me, as well as Suzuki's assessment for how we can assess students that have different backgrounds and are more culturally responsive. So it's important in my teaching that I can now realize that I can use these techniques in order to be a better teacher and be a more inclusive teacher. So for my future plans, one of the things I want to think about is how I could be incorporating this kind of matrix into my teaching. Can I include it into my assessments, my daily routines, activities, and routines? And what about my curriculum? So I really think that this matrix was very important to me, and it kind of put everything together of like everything I've been learning. You know, I know that I want to challenge my students and have, you know, synthesis and evaluation activities, but now I'm thinking about it not only through that lens, but with the lens of how can I provide activities that are transformation, social action, putting that stuff into play, so that students are getting a multicultural education and they're not just seeing it from one perspective. So working with my team and being able to do that. And one of the things I wanted to plan on doing the first week of school is doing something like the My Peeps that we did, and having students do this just to begin their journey with multiculturalism, and to know that this is just one of the many things that we'll do as we begin our year. Another thing that I want to do is to be able to develop and facilitate courageous conversations at my school with my staff, administration, and many others. And so being able, as they talked about in the Courageous Conversation talk, that we can notice, engage, understand, and emphasize, because really when we have those courageous conversations about race, it will help students to improve their engagement and achievement. It will help graduation rates, people going to college, and really improve education for all students and help their future. So as far as who I want to connect with and network with and be able to collaborate with, I want to start with my grade level and just kind of having that discussion of ways that we can include multiculturalism into our instruction and curriculum. But I don't want to just go through my grade level, because that's just one small part of my grade of my school, but I want to be able to reach the other people in the school. So once I've reached my grade level, I think, if I can meet with grade level chairs to kind of get the conversation started, work with administration, because a lot of times in faculty meetings, if it's a whole group faculty meeting, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to reach everyone just because there's a lot of people. Sometimes there's lots of things happening and they're not paying attention. They're tired from a long school day. So I think it's better to kind of meet in small groups, or some kind of training that is not overwhelming and it's kind of not too pressured. But getting that conversation started within the school. The next person I want to connect with is my curriculum support teacher, my CST. I know we've talked about many times in the class about how we can be talking about pre-service teachers. How can we get those teachers that are brand new to be thinking about multiculturalism and reflecting on that? And my curriculum support teacher does something called GoTip, which is a teacher program for new teachers in Fulton County. And So I can work with her to kind of talk with the new teachers and talk about, how are you incorporating this into your teaching? How are you working with your students? So that right from the start, those new teachers are getting that kind of training so that they know, how can I be including this multiculturalism? And it's not just the older teachers, but also the new ones that are just coming in. And I also want to work with my gifted teacher because I think there's different ways that we can provide assessments for our students, as Suzuki talked about. And so I think one of the things that I can talk about and get a conversation started with my gifted teacher is is there a way that we can create portfolios for students, different things like that to really help students of different backgrounds to be able to have a chance to show their talent and ability in other ways than just assessments that happen twice a year. And she can probably connect me with other people within the county. It is a large county, so it's kind of hard to go to the district gifted coordinator, but I'm sure she could connect me with her since she has been a gifted teacher for a long time. In order to get that conversation started of how I can be doing some different assessments with gifted students to help students from all backgrounds. So I hope you enjoyed, and I have learned a lot in this class, and thank you.